In this lesson, guys, I will show you how the cluster works. So first, here you see I have a node, and if I dive inside the node, I have a test rubber toy and a transfer node. I set the value of y to 3. Okay, so as you remember from the previous lessons, we did the Voronoi fracture by setting ISO offset and then scattering points and then applying the Voronoi fracture, right? But there is a node here that doing everything for you. So select the geometry, and then here in the model tab, you see here we have a button called shutter. So I will click on shutter, and now you see Houdini added the ISO offset for us and scattering points too, and applied Voronoi fracture. Okay, so here I will enable the visualize pieces, and I will increase the pieces by selecting the scatter node, and then I will set it to 20, for example, or let's set to 40. Okay, so now guys, if I go to object level and I want to make it dynamic, I will select that, and I will go to rigid bodies, and I will click on RBD objects, and I will create a ground too to collide with the ground. Okay, so if I hit play, we have a simulation. Okay, so let's see how the cluster works. So if I dive inside the geometry, and here in the Voronoi fracture, here you see we have a tab called cluster. So if I enable the cluster pieces, now Houdini creates one piece from several pieces and stick them together. Okay, so now if I hit play, let's see, let's go back and increase the size of the cluster. So I will set it to 1, 1 and 1. Okay, so now if I set exploded view here to see our pieces, okay, you see I have this big cluster here and this big one. Okay, so it's different than before. So if I select that and uncheck the cluster, you see we have more pieces that's similar to each other. So when you enable the cluster pieces, adds variation to your pieces, okay, or to your geometry. So I will delete the exploded view, and let's go to the up, and why it's not working. Oh, sorry, it's not working because if I dive inside, we need to move the circles to the DOP import. Okay, so now as you see we have bigger pieces. So that's what the cluster do, guys. Okay, so see you in the next lesson.